Hey, this is Josh with New Review, coming at you with a new review of Riverdale so far. So Riverdale picks up right where we left off. And this new dynamic that was at the beginning of the season of Riverdale's sins being punished by the Hood was really, really interesting. It created a lot of character arcs that I didn't think were really obvious at the beginning of the series. Yeah, the kids. It's like a mystery thing with the kids. But Archie went kind of dark. The entire series itself is tonally a little darker than the Archie comics source material, because that's where it's from. However, the character of Archie himself, he was always a little bit more of a like the stereotypical pure jock white guy thing. But with the shooting of his dad and how he's trying to protect everyone, he went darker than I would have anticipated, and I think it really shows the acting ability of KJ. I think that's his name, and it the relationship he forms with Veronica is also a lot. It goes a lot faster than anticipated, but that I think kind of mixes with the darkness, mixes with the anger, and mixes with the whole fighting the Hood, because he's trying to punish people for their perceived sins. Um, Betty also seems to be a little bit more secretive than she was last season. Actually, a lot more secretive. And the fight she has with the Hood, because the Hood's deciding to use her as his kind of like conduit into our main group of characters, for the so that we know that he's there a little bit more often than we see than in a typical than we would have expected, kind of, and in a different way, because instead of constantly killing people, he does kill a few people, or try to. He instead is playing mind games, which is, I think, refreshing for how we would refreshing, and fits more with the vengeful punisher of sins than mystery crime series tend to go with, which I enjoyed. And there was also really interesting character arc with Jughead. Jughead, when he was introduced, he's this intelligent, brooding character, but because of his dad, because he's immersed in a more gang-prone environment, his evolution is also a little darker, and I really like how this character, who we're introduced to as an intellectual, is fluctuating between that and this gang-oriented, if you will, character. And those story arcs, I think, are the more interesting. I also don't think they actually got the Black Hood. And it's led to natural evolutions, I think, with those characters. Veronica is also kind of delving a little bit more into these darker depths with the introduction of her father. And I think that's an interesting angle to go with her character. And yeah, it's kind of culminating in these darker storylines, these darker impulses that it's going with. And I think the acting is actually very good. I mostly started watching Riverdale because I grew up watching Dylan on The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. But I didn't think that I'd be kind of drawn into this world of characters that I don't really know that well, because I'm not really much of a comic fan, even though I watch a lot of comic-based movies and TV shows. I find that this introduction to these characters is very interesting and fits a lot more with the style of story that kind of speaks to me. These darker types of stories with an overarching villain that we're trying to find or catch or whatever. But yeah, this video will be recorded before Wednesday's episode, so it will not include my thoughts on how that kind of goes with things. But yeah, this is Joshua with New Review signing off.